watching NotesIn9.
Hello, and welcome to NotesIn9. I'm David Leedy. Episode 153, a Java-based debug control, Part 1. Is that a fly in your cup of coffee? Okay, there's a new contributor today that I'm very excited about, and his name is Greg Reeder from Holistic Net in Hanover, Germany. And actually, he, I believe, grew up not that far from me in Pennsylvania, so that's always kind of interesting. But quite honestly, he's got the best Twitter handle I've seen in a long time. At Darth Heap. I mean, I don't know. That just rocks. And he was gonna change, and I suggested that yeah, just stay true to yourself and be yourself. And he moved it back, and I think he made the right decision there. So again, that's a great Twitter handle, and he's doing a lot of X pages over there. So I highly recommend you check him out at Darth Heap or on his blog at readerprogramming.com. He's an X pages developer. He's getting into Java. He's getting into OSGI, which is something that I'm gonna try to do relatively soon, I think. And he's a big fan, like Stack Overflow and OpenNTF. So maybe it's from Pennsylvania. I don't know, but there's a lot of great things going on there. So what he's going to do is a series on using Java and building this debug custom control. But before we get into that, now I believe he was learning a little bit as he went, or missed a couple things. So I just wanted to go over a couple things in the language, which is going to contradict his video a little bit, which I hate doing. But I think this one's important. I talked with him, and it's okay. But if you look at Java, okay, when you have a string literal in Java, you have to remember that that is an object. Okay, and all objects have methods and properties. So you typically don't want to compare objects to themselves because even a string object, they might be different. So if you say string one equals string one, and quite honestly, I don't know if that works in Java or not, but it most likely will not work in every situation. So like I like to say, it's kind of like cats; they're not to be trusted. So what you typically want to do is do if you're doing a literal comparison is this string one in quotes dot equals ignore case, and then your other string one, or that probably should have been a variable in there that would have probably made a lot more sense. For testing for blank, I believe I mean there's a lot of these methods. I believe he just missed that at the time he recorded that, but there is an is empty method against the string. So myvar, if you do declare a variable, you could do myvar dot is empty, and that'll return a boolean, true or false, whether it's blank. Or what I actually do in some cases, I honestly can't remember why, but if I'm testing a variable for blank, and maybe this is dumb, but sometimes I'll just do like quote dot equals ignore case my var. Now that does none of those test for null. I don't think so. That's kind of like a different type of test you need to account for, but that's just I guess some tidbits on string handling. So now the way the demo is going to work is we had some little bumps in filming this because I wanted to get I guess an overview of what this was going to look like beforehand, and he was saving that to the end. And I said, well, let's do a new one, an introduction that shows what was done beforehand. And so he filmed that actually last. So I believe in the beginning of this introduction, he references the three videos which you haven't seen yet. So just keep that in mind. So we're going to do the intro, and then we're going to have three videos back to back to back of his solution. And with all that being said, let's go to Greg Reeder and the demo.
Hello and welcome to a short demonstration of what we will be doing, or better, what we have done in the past three videos for this NotesIn9 series for creating a custom control using Java for XPages. In the past three episodes, what we've really gone into is creating all of the background classes necessary for basically making this panel right here. Now, there's a couple of things that it's going to do. Basically, it is a way for the programmer to keep track of certain things that happen during the course of development. And this is a tool that I actually started using in the early days of Java, or the early days of XPage development in 8.5.3. This is a tool that I've been developing continuously over the course of the past, I'd say, 3 years by now. And with every design iteration, it gets a little bit better, and I get a little happier with how it works. So let me just go into what we can do with it. We can, for example, type any code we want here. So we can just say hello world, go. And right now we see that we're only seeing warnings and above, so we only see warnings, the errors, and the fatals. What this button just did is it inserted 6 log events with the text hello world into this debugger. And this debugger then immediately parsed everything, created an HTML table, and so on. We can now select trace, and we see all the information that this contains. It obviously will start with the newest stuff and then work its way back to the oldest stuff. We can also run this, because this is done in Java, and because it's done using beans, we have the ability to call the logging functions both from the Java side as well as the JavaScript side. So if I wanted to, I could very easily just say here, run Java code, and it quickly runs through a bit of Java, and you see that we started doing a function that was do something, beginning doing something. It then runs through everything and prints it all out. Additionally, we have the ability to see all of our scope variables. We can go here and we can see view scope, and we see every single view scope variable there is. We see that I have a view scope tester. We can see that the extension libraries puts in its own view scope variable, and we see what it is. We know that it's an object, basically because of how this is written. We can see all of the session scope variables. And again, this is not hard-coded. This will show every single scope variable that there is in this particular map. And I made sure that it was possible to use it with all 3 of the scopes. Request scope is not in here. I'm not exactly sure if that would even work, but I guess it's a possibility. But I personally don't see the point. We also then do see all of the application scopes. So just a quick look at how this is run. Whet our appetites here a bit. We can go to the error writer class. Better yet, let's just go here first and show the, right, that's in the custom control. Haha, wrong custom control. We want to go home. Go. What we see here is that using one bean and one function, we have the ability to write anything we need. So any error level, we can write where the error came from, and we can see what the user inputted. Now, even though this is written as a string here, I mainly did that as a helper, so that we didn't actually have to retrieve yet another Java object. This just makes it easier. Behind this text here is an actual Java object, which is housed in an enumeration. So We go into test. This is one thing I forgot to do, row X. We can see that we have a couple of things written here. We have just a straight out, hey, log this. And here we actually do see that there is an enumeration behind it. And we can see that it's also very easy to log exceptions. And we also have the ability here to just, again, log anything we want. Let's just take a look at this again. Try that. And we can say, run the Java code. We see immediately that we have an error, and that was this notes exception, and we can see that the text is unable to open view. Now I programmed this in such a way that for normal exceptions, the message is going to be displayed, and for notes exceptions, the crazy IBM invention of the text property will be displayed. We also have the ability to change this, and so that the minimum error level will be can be changed, and that you automatically see then everything that should be displayed. And this is also done so that if we were to switch pages, let's just go to home. We see that the minimum error level remains constant. And we also see that this, this HTML table is also the same table that we had before. If any sort of errors came when this page loaded, we also see them. But pretty much what we will be building is this panel here, so that we, the developers, are assisted when we decide to really get into all of our Java programming, help us detect problems. And of course, this can stay here then. We don't actually have to get rid of it for any reason when we deliver this to the customers. We just need to hide it. And I personally find this a very helpful tool. I really look forward to helping all of you get started with it. If you have any questions during any of the videos, please contact me. The source code is also posted on the web page, and I really look forward to getting started. So without further ado, let's give a big thank you for David Leedy for the NotesIn9 platform with which this video series is going to be published, and enjoy. Hello and welcome to NotesIn9. I'm Gregory Reeder, and today we're going to be discussing XPage's Java development, and more specifically how that is going to be done with custom controls, and how you can create your own managed beans to really provide a great deal of awesome functionality in your XPage applications. So a little bit about me. I began an apprenticeship for computer programming in Hanover, Germany at a company called Holistic Net, and I finished that last year in June. I began using Notes in 2010 when my apprenticeship began, and almost right away I was able to start with XPages. I already have a long blog regarding all of that and that whole journey. Feel free to read that. I have 2 major customer projects behind me, and I've also been able to complete multiple XPage applications for the company that I work for internal use. I'm also very active on Stack Overflow, asking questions basically on a semi-daily basis, if not more. I answer questions when I can. Most of the time I'm there just to learn. If you have any questions, that's the place to go. I'm also getting started as a contributor on openntf.org. If you wish to get a hold of me, you can do so at the website, readerprogramming.com. That's also the website where I post the blog and everything else I do. You can follow me at Darth Heap on Twitter. You could visit the Holistic Net website, www.holisticnet.de, or you can write to me directly at greg@readerprogramming.com. Every once in a while that goes into a spam folder, so be warned. So let's just quickly go into my goals for today and the next couple of videos. What I want to do is create a custom control that allows the developer, and this is really a development tool, to see information that is given off from both Java code and JavaScript code. To do that, we're going to first have to learn how to create a Java managed bean. We're going to have to take a look at the faces.config /config XML file. Then later on, once we go into presenting this information, we're going to have to look at the string builder class in Java, and we're going to also have to look at some style sheet information, and our end goal is going to be to create HTML in Java. The other thing that we want to do is show all possible view, session, and application scope variables dynamically in tables in this admin panel. Just a little bit of background. This is a small part of a much larger tutorial series. In this tutorial series, I really go into starting XPage development and immediately diving in to Java. It's a step that I find really important, and a lot of errors, believe it or not, in my opinion, can be prevented by using Java instead of JavaScript whenever possible. All of the videos are posted on readerprogramming.com. There you will be able to see the links to the NotesIn9 videos, to my videos that I post onto YouTube directly. It's a really good place. Take a look at it. This application, as I already said, heavy in Java, and we're going to be using the OpenNTF Domino API. I will be referring to it as ODA. We're going to be assuming that the extension libraries are installed, and the only thing I really expect from you is to know basic Java syntax. I'm not really expecting you to know every single library, class, and best practices. That's all stuff that I want to cover in this tutorial. The only stuff that I really expect you to know is notes development using Lotus script and the @ formula. As I said, we're going to be breaking this down into 3 different parts. The reason for that is this topic is huge. It's going to be something that I want to do with feedback, which means watch part 1, wait a week, ask me some questions. I'll try to answer them the best I can in the next part. In this particular section, we're going to be discussing some introductions, also known as this PowerPoint stuff that I really sometimes dislike. We're going to be setting up the basic backbone of our project. We're going to take a look at the faces config XML file, and I also have some pre-written style sheet files that I'm already done with, and we're just going to take a look at it, see what's there, and I'm going to better define what we're going to do. In part 2, as I said, I'm going to answer as many questions as I possibly can, if there are any. I also hope to finish all of the Java coding in that one video. It's going to be quite the task. I'm going to also be posting all of the code onto my website, so you can also take a look at that there. So if you miss something, or if I end up having to edit something out because it's just running too long, you can always see the code there. In part 3, I'm going to, again, answer as many questions as I can from part 2. I'm going to go over any code tweaks that I may have built in. I'll go over some Javadoc stuff that I always write after the fact. We're then going to actually build our custom control, and then we're going to test it, or, well, I'm going to then show you how it works for real. So, without further ado, let's head on over to our designer client and get started. Okay, so we are now in our Windows 7 PC, and we can now go into Designer. If you're following along with the series and not just watching NotesIn9, you'll recognize this application from last time. For those of you who are just starting now or just watching the NotesIn9 video, what we have here, first off, is our source folder. We defined, well, real quick, I can take this off of the build path so you can see where I first created it. In the first of all, this is the Package Explorer. To open that, it's just Window, Show Eclipse View, Package Explorer, or you can go into the Open Perspective and go directly into Java. I personally like having the Package Explorer available all of the time. I'm always going into it. It just makes more sense for me. So here I just created a folder, src, and then I just said build path, use as source folder, and then I added my packages and my classes. We don't really have too much here. We have something that I'm calling a session helper. And in this session helper, I just defined a couple of classes. I've added a lot of Javadoc stuff today. Lots of good stuff. This is all on the website. You can take a look at that then. And we also defined a few exceptions. But we're not going to really be using that today. What we want to do now is, first and foremost, let's take a look at the style sheets that I've created. I'm going to be calling this custom control the admin panel. So I'm naming my style sheet accordingly. The whole thought about this is we're going to have a place where we can log all of our information, whether errors or certain incidences happen in JavaScript or Java. We have a central place where the developer, during the runtime, can see what's going on. Just some history. This came about in my days of developing with 8.5.3 when I didn't have an actual debugger for JavaScript. So this is just a custom control that I've been developing over years, and I'm just going to show you guys how I did it and so on. Basically what we have is we have our debugging table, and we have an appropriate style sheet defined, class defined. Then what we're going to do is every single row, depending on the severity of the incident, we're going to change how it looks. And the beauty of having this in a style sheet like this that we copy is it's very easy to change this for a specific company, or if you just decide that you hate yellow. So there really is no magic here. I'm going to post this code on the website. Not too much. We have warning, row, info, and debug, trace. We have headers. Then we have a column defined for a timestamp, which is basically when the incident occurred. We're going to have a severity column where we actually say the words warning, trace, fatal, whatever. Then we also have a column for where that function, or the name of the function. We have a column for the message, such as session did not return a value. After that, we have a couple more tables. Basically, what I also want to do is dynamically create an HTML table for classes that basically I want to create an HTML table that shows all of the variables, whether they're in the view scope, session scope, or application scope. Request scope is just too quick. It doesn't make any sense at all, in my opinion. And those are the styles for that. And this is all stuff that we're going to be doing in Java. So let's get started. First thing we're going to want to do is we're going to right-click on a package, go to New, Other, Class, Next. Here we can define where the package we want it in. We're going to call this error handling. Com readerprogramming.utils error handling debugging dot debugger. Oops, sorry. The name of the class is debugger. Now you might ask yourself, why is this so big? I'll go into that in a moment. We're also going to want to add the interface serializable so that we can store this as a managed bean. Finish. What I did here is created one package that doesn't have anything in. So what we can very easily do is create another class, and this is just going to be in the error handling package, and the name is going to be error writer. Add interface serializable. Okay. There's a reason why I'm doing it this way. I want to be able to add any sort of debugging code in one place, and really only in one place. Error writer is going to be using or calling functions on the debugger. Alright, so what we're going to want to do is create an enum error level.
Okay, awesome. Now, as far as I am aware, enums do implement serializable, and that's all automatic, apparently. Don't quote me on that. At any rate, I have not had to create my own serializable fields in enums before. So let's just open up our style sheet again. There's a couple things we want to do here. We want to have in our error level the status fatal. We're going to want to have error and warning. And then I believe it's just info, debug, and trace. Info, debug, and trace. Now this is all well and good, but we want to have more information than just this. So what we're going to do is create our own constructor for these enum elements. Not hard. First of all, I want to have a string representation. So fatal. I want to copy the style sheet class. And I also want to give it a number. And then I can do the same here, which is error, and then other string 5. All right, I'm just going to do this for the rest of this, and I'll be right back. Okay, and welcome back. So what I've done is I've completed setting up our list here, and an enumeration is normally nothing more than a list. What we have are our 6 levels. We have a text representation of those levels. We have the style sheet class names, and I've also included an integer representation of those levels, although I don't really need that. What I've also done is created a private constructor for this, and then the appropriate getter methods. I do not have setter methods, not at all. I don't need them. What we want to do yet though is we want to have one, maybe even 2 static methods, like static error level, get error level, and we're going to say that it takes a string. Now there's a reason why I'm doing this. What I want to do is be able to not always have to make it in JavaScript now. I don't always want to have to instantiate the class or write out the long name for these error levels. I just don't want to be bothered with that. What I want to do is just hand over a string to the appropriate managed bean and be done with it, at least from JavaScript. From Java, I could always call the error level enum and not have a problem. So let's just create an object of error level, going to return that level, and that is automatically equal to null. Now what we're going to do is create a quick loop here and say for every single error level in this enumeration, and if the level dot get class name, actually get level, is equal to, ignoring the case, level, then L is equal to the level. Alright, so what happens here? We're going to get a string. To be on the safe side, we could perform a check to see if this level is null or empty, and then throw a null pointer exception if we wanted to. Actually, that's not a bad idea. Let's just go ahead and do that. Now, for that we're going to need another class, at least a class that I always put in. New other class, string helper. Might as well. Serializable, finish, be done with it. And now public boolean is null or empty string s. Boolean is empty is equals false. Return is empty. So if s is not equal to null, then I'm going to say that the car array cars is equal to s.get.toCarArray. And then I'm going to say if cars.length is less than 1, then is empty is equal to true. That doesn't make any sense. So if this empty is equal to true, if the string is not empty, and if the length is higher than null, then is empty is equal to false. There's a reason why I do this with a character array and I don't use the is equal. I'll write it out so you can actually see what I mean. In the past I've done this if s equals null or s equals an empty string. And many times I've written this question out like this, and even though the string was empty, I still had the computer try to tell me that it was indeed not empty. Since then, to be on the safe side, put it into a character count, a character array. You're not going to have any issues that way, at least I haven't since then. So we can go back to our error level and say if string helper dot is public static boolean is null or empty level. Then we're going to throw a new null pointer exception with the text level may not be equal to null or empty. And I could discuss here whether or not null pointer exception is the correct one, or if you're going to be better off using an illegal argument exception. A null pointer works for me. The only other thing, even though a null pointer exception is a runtime exception, I still automatically put a throws declaration, and it also helps if I put a Java doc reference right away. May not be null. It helps me out later. We'll see that more than likely in a few minutes. Okay, so awesome. I think with that, we're going to call this an episode, and we're going to work on this a little bit more next time. Just a quick note of what we've done today and what we haven't done, which I had planned. We've gone over our styles. I've basically described what I want to accomplish. I know it's a little vague right now, but it'll be clarified pretty quickly later. We added a string helper class. We've added an enumeration. We've added the backbone of the error writer. And we've also added the debugger class. Next time what we're going to do is we're going to finish up the debugger class. We're going to then call it with the error writer, and then when that's done, we're going to go into our faces config file, and we are going to fill out this lovely piece of code right here, well, of XML, and we're going to actually be able to call that then from JavaScript and from other Java classes. So I hope that you've learned something. Again, if you have any questions, please write, comment, and I will do my best to make sure that those questions are answered in the next video. I wish you a very good day, evening, morning, whatever it may be, and I will see you for part 2. Bye.
And that's the demo. I thank you for your attention. I thank Greg for the contribution. He'll be returning next show with part 2. If you have any questions for me, here's my contact information, and I thank you for your time.